Italy is grappling with a catastrophic weather emergency as torrential rains and late-season snowstorms have triggered widespread flooding, landslides, and infrastructure collapse across the central and southern provinces. The Department of Civil Protection has maintained a red alert, the highest level of weather warning, for the regions of Abruzzo and Molise, while 8 other regions remain under high surveillance. The Adriatic coast has borne the brunt of the storm's fury. In the coastal city of Termoli, Molise, the situation reached a breaking point on Thursday. The Lisione Dam is currently under extreme pressure, forcing authorities to monitor water levels hourly to prevent a catastrophic breach. The industrial heartland of Termoli is partially submerged, with factories reporting significant damage to machinery and logistics hubs. Tragically, a bridge over the Trigno River on the vital Adriatic Highway, SS-16, collapsed early Thursday morning. Miraculously, no fatalities were reported at the site, though the structural failure has effectively severed one of Italy's primary north-south transport arteries. In Abruzzo, the infrastructure is similarly crippled. A massive section of the SS-150 highway between Val Vomano and Castelnuovo collapsed due to soil erosion, while the railway line between Pescara and Foggia remains suspended after the Osento River burst its banks, depositing tons of mud and debris onto the tracks. Emergency services, including the Vigili del Fuoco, firefighters, and the army, have been deployed in a race against time. In a harrowing scene in Termoli, a driver was plucked from the roof of his car by a helicopter after his vehicle was swept away by the Sinarca River. He had survived for over an hour by clinging to the branches of a willow tree. In the higher altitudes of Molise, the problem is twofold: heavy rain at low levels and blinding snow in the mountains. Rescuers are using snowcats, tracked vehicles, to reach isolated elderly residents in villages where roads are blocked by 3-meter-high snowdrifts and fallen trees. In the Piceno area, Marche region, a series of massive landslides has cut off road access to several hamlets, leaving approximately 90 people isolated without electricity or running water. The Italian Farmers Association, Coldiretti, has described the situation as a death blow to the spring harvest. Thousands of hectares of artichokes, broccoli, and winter wheat are currently underwater in the provinces of Foggia and Brindisi. In the Matera region, freak hailstorms accompanying the rain have decimated blossoming fruit trees, potentially wiping out the 2026 apricot and peach harvest. Prime Minister is expected to convene an extraordinary council of ministers to declare a national state of emergency for the affected regions. This move will unlock hundreds of millions of euros in emergency relief funds for reconstruction and compensation. Our priority is the safety of our citizens, stated the head of Civil Protection. We urge everyone in the red alert zones to avoid all non-essential travel, stay away from riverbanks and bridges, and move to the upper floors of buildings if water levels rise. Meteorologists point to a Mediterranean cyclone, fueled by unusually warm sea temperatures as the cause of this extreme event. The sheer volume of rain, nearly 3 months' worth in 48 hours, has overwhelmed even recently upgraded drainage systems. While the heaviest rain is expected to taper off by late Friday, the risk of landslides remains extreme due to the saturated soil. However, a glimmer of hope remains for the Easter weekend, with a high-pressure system expected to bring sun and warmer temperatures starting Sunday. Cyclone Erminio, a powerful Mediterranean tropical-like cyclone, often referred to as a medicane, has spent the last 72 hours battering the central and southern regions of Italy, leaving a trail of unprecedented destruction, displacement, and a mounting humanitarian crisis. Cyclone Erminio did not form by chance. Scientific consensus points to a volatile combination of an unseasonably warm Adriatic Sea and a sudden descent of polar air from the Balkans. This atmospheric collision birthed Erminio on March 31st, 2026. Within hours, the system developed a distinct eye, a characteristic usually reserved for Atlantic hurricanes, signaling a level of intensity rarely seen in the Mediterranean basin. By the morning of April 2nd, the cyclone made landfall near the Gargano Peninsula, packing sustained winds of 140 kilometers per hour and gusts exceeding 180 kilometers per hour. The sheer volume of precipitation delivered by Erminio, recorded at over 400 millimeters in less than 24 hours in parts of Molise, has effectively redrawn the local geography. The coastal city of Termoli and the surrounding Molise region have become the epicenter of the catastrophe. The Biferno River, fed by Erminio's torrential rains, saw its water levels rise by 6 meters in a single night. The Licione Dam, a critical piece of infrastructure, reached its maximum capacity early Thursday. A catastrophic winter storm has plunged central and southern Italy into a state of emergency, leaving thousands of residents stranded, cutting off vital transport links, and prompting a high-level red alert from the National Civil Protection Department. The regions of Abruzzo, Molise, and Puglia are currently bearing the brunt of what meteorologists describe as a once-in-a-decade polar blast. In the town of Capricata, famously known as one of the snowiest places on Earth, residents woke up to a landscape buried under more than 1.5 meters, nearly 5 feet, of fresh snow. "We are literally digging our way out of our front doors," said a local resident via satellite phone. "The power is flickering, and the silence is only broken by the sound of emergency sirens." The Vigili del Fuoco, firefighters, and the alpine rescue teams are working around the clock. Using tracked snowcats, brusci, and heavy-duty snowplows, they are attempting to reach isolated hamlets where elderly residents are trapped without heating. In some areas of the Apennines, the risk of avalanches has reached level 4, high, complicating rescue efforts. What makes this event particularly devastating is its timing. Occurring in early April, the heavy, wet snow is clinging to trees that have already begun to bud. The weight has caused thousands of trees to snap, bringing down power lines and blocking rural roads. While the south struggles with a blizzard, the northern Alps and Dolomites are seeing a late-season gift for the tourism industry. Resorts like Passo Tonale and Sella Nevea report excellent skiing conditions with over 200 centimeters of base snow, though they remain on high alert for shifting weather patterns moving upward from the peninsula. The Italian government has urged citizens in the red alert zones to avoid all non-essential travel. The priority is keeping the main arterial roads open for emergency vehicles, stated a spokesperson for the Ministry of Infrastructure. Meanwhile, the A14 toll gate and the Biferno State Highway are closed, rendering many roads impassable. The Biferno River has reached its limit, and the Trigno River has overflowed its banks in Montenero di Bisaccia, where several families have been evacuated. Schools have been closed in around 30 municipalities, and government offices have been closed in several towns. Rescue teams have been involved in numerous operations, including the rescue of a motorist swept away by the flooding of the Sinarca River last night. Molise Regional President Francesco Roberti, along with civil protection officials, is inspecting the affected areas and is in constant contact with prefects, mayors, and firefighters to coordinate the emergency. Outside of Osento, 8 rivers have exceeded warning levels, with hundreds of interventions due to flooding, landslides, and fallen trees. Dams are of concern, particularly the Bomba sul Sangro Dam, which was opened to release water into the river. The surrounding area is under maximum alert, while Penne and Alanno are also being monitored. In Pescara, floodplains have been closed due to rising river levels, and the city's operations center has been activated. In Lanciano, 2 people were injured after a landslide submerged a van. In just a few hours, nearly 1,000 emergency calls were made to the single emergency number 112. Many provincial and municipal roads were closed or impassable. Meanwhile, the Teramo prosecutor's office has opened an investigation into negligence in the landslide that struck Silvi Pais a few days ago. Several motorists were rescued after being trapped in water and mud. In the Bari area, firefighters responded to dozens of calls for flooding and landslides, with damage also affecting rural areas of Brindisi and Matera, where crops were affected. Operations are underway to address fallen trees and gas leaks, while in the Avellino area, the Cervaro River overflowed, flooding roads and stranding travelers at the station. In Basilicata, a landslide caused the closure of State Highway 92. The forecast for the bad weather is expected to continue for another 48 hours, especially in the Adriatic region, with heavy rain and snow in the Apennine Mountains, before gradual improvements are expected over the weekend. A landslide occurred near Civita Camperano, in the province of Campobasso, followed by other landslides along the coast. The province of Chieti has declared a state of emergency due to the damage caused by flooding of rivers and streams, as well as the disruption to traffic caused by the collapse of the Trigno overpass. But there are also problems in the mountains. Hotels and holiday homes in Passo Lanciano, in the Maiella ski area, which straddles the provinces of Pescara and Chieti, were inaccessible for hours. Military vehicles were needed to reopen access roads amid heavy snowfall. More than 3 meters, tourists reported. In Lama dei Poligni, on the other side of the mountain, an avalanche occurred, cutting off access to several homes. In the L'Aquila region, despite careful repairs, severe flooding has been reported in the Pretola Poligna Plain, in Rocca Casale, and in Raiano. Firefighters have moved in from other areas to meet more than 170 pending requests. Meanwhile, ANAS continues to repair mountain roads and bridges. Around 800 people are stranded at Pescara station waiting for buses. A similar situation occurred at Ancona train station, with passengers waiting for hours for buses. A strong storm surge is currently occurring in Porto Recanati, Macerata, eroding the beach and causing damage. The waves nearly reached the coastal road. In early February, another large storm surge flooded several beach clubs and businesses, causing serious damage to buildings, equipment, and sewerage, as well as causing power outages. In the Pescara area, due to damage to the Tavo Sud main water pipe, the Penne Hospital currently has no direct water supply. To address the emergency and ensure the normal functioning of health services, ACA, the public company responsible for managing integrated water services, has activated a replacement service using tanker trucks.